Part 14. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 131. The four people present were all staring at the four beams of light, of which the green and red lights were the most dazzling, setting off the other two beams of light. Wood Spirit Root, 40, Fire Spirit Root, 40, Earth Spirit Root, 13, Water Spirit Root, 12. Guyao let out a long sigh and let go. It was exactly what he thought. It should be said that the level of this time's potion has been improved compared to the last time. Otherwise, the improvement will not be so great. The harder it is to walk. Looking back at Tian Firong and Little Fatty, their expressions were a bit complicated. Guyao understood their thoughts after a little thought, and smiled and said, "What are you two doing? My original aptitude is the worst, and I am very satisfied to be able to improve it to this level. You must know that the result of the last time was only after I took a transformative agent. Hey, don't forget that I am the root of the four spirits." In addition to his own physique being a little tricky, another important reason for his cultivation to improve so fast is that he uses the best pills to drink. Who has such a luxury as him, and therefore knows the inside story of Qi Changjai, is it? Really happy for Guyao. Tian Firong and Little Fatty also reacted at this time. The two of them scratched their heads and laughed. In their hearts, Guyao is omnipotent. No wonder they were a little stunned, because they had only taken it once. One of the main spiritual roots was 40, and the other was up to 45. After suddenly seeing Guyao's second transformation, this result was achieved. Some are lost, they hope that the higher the qualification of Guyao, the better. Tian Firong patted his forehead. Yes, Guyao's main spiritual root was 28 last time, and this time it has been raised to 40. The progress is quite big. After we take it, how much will it improve? The little fat man's eyes lit up when he heard it. When his cultivation level surpasses that of Qian Valley's scumbags who laugh at him, he will go back and show off to see what kind of faces they will show, hee. Give me your materials as well. I'll hurry up and refine them, but I have to make a statement. After taking it this time, the next time I have to wait for the foundation to be established, Guyao reminded. The two nodded hurriedly, knowing, and presenting some of the materials they had collected with both hands. Guyao did not blindly collect the materials they used. After determining his own recipes, except for some very rare ones, after adjusting the recipes, let them collect them when they are free. Tian Firong and Little Fatty are usually very attentive. Guyao had a good meal and rested for a while before entering the pill room, refining 2 tubes of potion, and then the two who got the potion plunged into their own training room. After a few days, the light beam on the tester lit up twice again. The little fat man's earth spirit root reached 50. It can be said that this qualification is not much worse than the double spiritual root. Tian Firong's aptitude has improved by leaps and bounds, perhaps because of the development of special physique, coupled with the potion, the two-pronged approach. The main spiritual root of the fire element suddenly jumped to 65, definitely surpassing the double spiritual root. Tian Firong felt like he was going to faint. All of this seemed so unreal, and then he gave himself a savage, and grinned excitedly. It wasn't a dream. One day, his aptitude was so good. Guyao also explained to him in detail the reason for such a high level of improvement, which also shows that his special physique has been developed very well, and in the future, it will not be much worse than the aptitude of Shanhuo Lingan. Qi Changjai snorted coldly. Aptitude is not the main thing. Xiaoao has the worst aptitude, but his cultivation is better than you, and the higher you go, the more important a person's comprehension and xingxing become. For example, Guyao, in the comprehension of alchemy, is absolutely otherworldly. Tian Firong calmed down a lot. He was a little complacent. He was very grateful to Qi Changjai for alerting him at this juncture. Brother Qi, I understand, Guyao will always be a role model for me to learn from. He followed Guyao and admired him the most. Even in the face of high achievement and glory, he was still so calm, and nothing changed because of it. Only such a person can go higher and fly farther. Bar. Of course, happy, he grinned and patted the little fat man's shoulder to cover you. Go away, the little fat man gave him an elbow unceremoniously. After this day, Tianfirong and the little fat man walked outside with wind. Anyone who looked at them knew that they were in a good mood. Could they be in a bad mood? The trivial matters around Guyao are basically handled by them. This time they go out, the two of them will be soft when they receive gifts. Look at now, they are being complimented by others wherever they go. Tianfu Academy has become famous this time, and many monks have come to defect, so there are many more people in the academy, including alchemists. The alchemist who came to Tianfu College did not go to Danfen. After finding out that Guyao belonged to Jianfeng, he joined Jianfeng without any hesitation. As long as Guyao did not retreat, he would regularly exchange alchemy with them, and he would not hesitate to join. Pulling them into the reserve of alchemists at Guk's shop, and absorbing a few more talismans, the scale of Guk's shop can be said to have expanded a lot, but now this shop is too famous. No matter how much goods are put in, the limited sales were stipulated, and the monks who were still waiting outside were quickly swept away. Danfeng is completely convinced this time. The last time with Hong Suandan, some people would still think that Guyao was lucky, and they would inevitably be jealous. There is nothing to say, when the gap is too large, then even jealousy can't be born. The two alchemists who were the first to challenge Guyao were no longer in Danfen. Wei Jinzi, the youngest disciple of Lord Lin, was still unconvinced at first, but after the news of Qing Chendan returned to the academy, he finally realizing the gap between himself and Guyao. This kind of sober cognition is unacceptable, but if he sticks to his own opinion, his alchemy will only stop there. No matter how hard it was to accept, he also tried to get out of the circle he had drawn for himself. He came to Jianfeng and asked if he could ask Guyao for alchemy, and watched Guyao concoct alchemy. Those who witnessed the scene thought that Wei Jinzi would meet. Being turned away, no one in the academy knew about the various grievances between Guyao and Danfeng, but the person who went in to spread the word quickly ran out and invited Wei Jinzi in. The group of alchemists that Danfen watched were different. When Wei Jinzi left Jianfeng, several people who had a good relationship with him gathered around him and asked if Guyao had made things difficult for him. What nonsense are you talking about? Alchemist Gu is by no means such a narrow-minded person, otherwise, more monks will not be able to enjoy the Qing Chen pill. Not only did Gu alchemist answer my questions in great detail, but also when he was alchemy on the spot. The speed was specially slowed down, just to let us see more clearly, how many alchemists can achieve this level. What is the norm on Dan Peak? Most alchemists are afraid of being surpassed by others, so they desperately hide what they have gained, which forms a vicious circle. In the past, he was used to it, but when he entered Jianfeng, he saw those alchemists surrounding him. Around Guyao, there was a lively discussion about various alchemy issues. Many people demonstrated on the spot what they had just obtained, and pointed out to others where he went into a misunderstanding. Surrounding him, he looked envious. He saw that two people were dissatisfied with each other because of a problem, and they were arguing loudly. In the end, Guyao couldn't see it, so he recruited the two of them and asked them to state their respective views, and he would demonstrate on the spot. Well, Guyao could see the problem at a glance. Both of them had small flaws. The two of them blushed on the spot, and then apologized to each other. After sitting back, they continued to discuss. It's not the same as they are fighting. Ling Qi came over, and the others retreated after seeing this. Wei Jinzi respectfully called out to the senior brother, and the two walked up the mountain together. Look at you, you're in a good mood. There was a clear look of joy between his brows and eyes, just like when he was just accepted as a direct disciple by Master, and he was praised and affirmed by Master. Of course, he was a little more restrained than that time. Wei Jinzi glanced at senior brother embarrassedly, fearing that senior brother would blame him, but he did not hide what he had seen and heard in Ji Unfeng and his feelings. Senior brother, now I feel that the ancient alchemist did not enter our alchemy. Peak, is a very right thing, I didn't think it before, but now I find the atmosphere of our Danfen, it is not a good thing for Gu alchemist. Gu Yao's approach is more suitable for starting a new career, otherwise this Dan Peak will make him the enemy of public criticism. Does the senior brother feel that, I betrayed our Danfen by doing this, Wei Jinzi said nervously. He has a good talent in alchemy, and his spiritual sense is stronger than ordinary people, so he heard some unharmonious voices, although far away, those people thought he couldn't hear. Ling Qi patted him on the shoulder and encouraged, you didn't betray our Danfen, why did you betray? It's a very normal thing for alchemists to learn alchemy skills with each other. Thinking about how high Gugu has reached, but he is never stingy in pointing others, and there are some qualities in the ancient alchemist, which are similar to Huguzu. Wei Jinzi finally showed a smile. With the confirmation of his senior brother, he could relax and enter and exit Ji Unfeng boldly. It was the first time that he had already enjoyed the fun of arguing with others. Gu Yao didn't have any knowledge of the door. If someone was willing to exchange alchemy techniques, he would open the door. After Wei Jinzi, several alchemists from Danfen joined the ranks. After a period of time, the alchemy of these people the teacher has obviously made progress, leaving behind the alchemists who were on the same level as them. This result has stimulated many alchemists. Gu Yao poured out an elixir with a faint luster, which was just released, and sighed, this is the foundation pill. Su Chen stayed by the side all the time, watching Gu Yao concocting pills and collecting pills. The first batch of foundation building pills harvested high-grade pills. It was totally unreasonable, but he still had to strike. It's just foundation building pills, not so much. Strange. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 132. Gu Yao put the medicinal pills in the jade bottle, and casually said to Su Chen that you are called why not eat minced meat. There are several materials for this foundation pill that are scarce resources in Tianlin continent. It is not easy to gather these materials. It's not that there are these connections now, I want to refine the foundation pill, it's early. He was able to gather these materials. First, the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce helped to collect them. Second, there were many precious spirit grasses in the generous gifts from Tianhaimen. Third, Huguzu privately asked him about the foundation building pill. Gu Yao was not polite and said that he was still lacking something, and Huguzu made up for what he lacked. Huguzu would ask this question, needless to say, he wanted to help him build his foundation as soon as possible, but also believed that he would not waste these spirit grasses. There are several rare materials that are almost extinct on the mainland, and only exist in a few secret realms. They are brought out by the monks who enter each secret realm when they are opened. Qian Valley has been cultivated, but it is necessary to completely simulate this species. The growth environment of the spirit grass is very difficult, so even if it is cultivated, it is difficult to scale, and due to the limitation of the growth period, the output of Qian Valley is also very rare. After Gu Yao sent these rare materials into the space, he used the method of the interstellar world to divide or cultivate new plants. Because of the special nature of this space and the spiritual field, his cultivation was successful, and the growth rate was not slow. In this way, he doesn't have to worry about the output of the foundation establishment pill in the future. Hearing Gu Yao said that it was not easy to gather the materials, Su Chen looked at one of the corners of the Lingtian, where the main ingredients of the foundation pills were planted, and the grounds looked particularly energetic, which was not easy. However, Gu Yao's method of cultivating new plants surprised him. This kid really knows a lot of messes, and some methods are unheard of. There are a total of 3 sets of materials, Gu Yao did not rush to refine the remaining two furnaces, but rested for a while, and analyzed and summarized the previous gains and losses, and the next furnace will achieve better results. As far as his four spiritual root aptitudes are concerned, although the purity of the main spiritual root has improved a lot, the difficulty of building a foundation must be much greater than that of other cultivators with good qualifications, and the barrier between foundation building and chi refining is not that much. It is easy to break through, so he must refine the top quality foundation establishment pill. Gu Yaoxin said that if it wasn't for his talent in refining medicine pills, or relying on his aptitude, it would be really difficult to achieve great success, so he was quite lucky. Yuanyang Town. Tianhaimen was attacked by sea beasts ashore, and the appearance of Qing Chen pill spread to the town one after another. The former made the monks not care. Tianhaimen was far away from Yuanyang Town. No matter how far the sea beasts ran, they could not appear outside their town. The latter news caused an uproar in the whole town, especially when I heard that Qing Chen pill was developed by Gu Yao. At first, there were people who suspected that this ancient Yao was not the other. The last time Hong Suandan was not widely circulated in the town, so apart from well-informed people, other people didn't know what happened to Gu Yao outside, and some people even thought he down. But then someone told them that the Qing Chen pill was developed by Gu Yao, who went out of their town, and it was absolutely true. The news was revealed by the Tian family members, who have always been in contact with Tianhaimen. The whole town was buzzing. People who knew Gu Yao thought it was incredible that the monks who went out of their town could reach such a height. No one does not know the qualifications of Gu Yao's four spiritual roots, especially under the propaganda of those who are interested, but it was rumored, and the whole town knew it. After digesting this incredible news, everyone turned their attention to the Gu family. Many people gloated over the misfortune. The Gu family picked up a sesame seed, and lost a watermelon. The spirit stones obtained by selling the Qing Chen pill can be piled up into mountains, right? Can the ancient family not regret their death? The Gu family really regretted it very much. When the Gu family master confirmed the news for the first time, he vomited blood on the spot, telling them how wrong they had made. Not to mention other things, just looking at Tian Firong from the Tian family, just following Gu Yao's side, he was very happy. I heard that the scenery was very beautiful, and his cultivation was also rising. If the Gu family did not treat Gu Yao harshly and let him leave the Gu family, then the Gu family would become the leading cultivation family in Tianlin continent in the future, and it is not impossible to look forward to, but now everything is ruined. Gu patriarch, who had vomited blood, saw Gu Er, who still couldn't believe it in front of him, and hated to smash the cup in his hand at his head, causing Gu Er's head to blossom. Idiot, look at what you have done. This, how is it possible? Gu Irayu murmured to himself. The people of the Gu family are too jealous of the possible future prospects. Even if Gu Er is the biological son of the Gu family master, they all blamed him as the culprit at this time, causing them to lose such a great opportunity. Gu Yao is the heart of the Gu family's children, so the ancient too must be severely punished. Not long after, a piece of news came out from Yuanyang town, that is, the second wife of the Gu family suddenly fell ill and was sent to a farm outside the town to recuperate. This happened after all kinds of rumors about Gu Yao came back, and people in the town couldn't help but think that the second lady of Gu was angry with the Gu family, and that she probably won't get better after sending it out. People with bright hearts can't see that the Gu family really treated Gu Yao so harshly that Gu Yao had to leave the Gu family. Where is the second lady of the ancient family? From the master of the ancient family to the second of the ancient family, which one is right? The biggest mistake of the ancient family is from the roots are crooked. It's only been posted upside down now, and I don't look at people's ancient times. The Gu family is not the only one who regrets and worries, and the situation of the Lu family is not much better, but who made them look down on Gu Yao at the beginning, and now the scenery of Gu Yao has nothing to do with them. Tian family. The Tian family was in an excellent mood at first. Although they were shocked by Gu Yao's achievements, the Tian family had a good relationship with Gu Yao, and Tian Firong followed Gu Yao, so the better Gu Yao was, the better it would be for the Tian family. But then a letter from Tian Fei Yang broke the happy atmosphere. The master of Tian called Father Tian to the study and took out Tian Fei Yang's letter for him to read. Father Tian had 10 lines in one eye, but after reading it, he couldn't help but look back. After confirming again and again, he looked at his father in shock. Is true? Fei Rong, how could he be able to refine qi at the 7th level? When he left Yuanyang town, he was only able to refine qi at the 3rd level. It's only been a few years since then. No matter how talented you are, it's not that fast, not to mention him. Tian Firong's aptitude couldn't be more clear to him. He didn't see any growth in his cultivation for many years. Later, he simply smashed the jar and wandered around all day. Not much worse than the boss. They focus on training. No, this progress is faster. Father, what the is going on? Tian Patriarch pressed his eyebrows and said, this is not the point. It was written in Fei Yang's letter. Fei Rong's spiritual power carries a light blue flame. Do you want to understand what this means? Father Tian's head exploded with a bang, remembering the old things of the Tian family that he had left behind, and asked in a dry voice, could it be that Fei Rong has the same, green flame body as his ancestors? Yes. Wouldn't it be Fei Yang's misunderstanding? Tian Jiazu looked at his son with a dignified expression and said, it is better to believe this matter than it is to not believe it. Since it may be a Qinjian body, then we must prepare for the worst, otherwise once it is discovered, you will overthink it. What are the consequences of Rong and Tian's family? Why did our Tian family live in this barren town? Father Tian smiled bitterly. It was his son who wanted to go wrong. Whether it was a disaster or a blessing, he could not avoid it. It was time to make all the necessary preparations. After the Tian family took root in Yuanyang town, they stayed too comfortable, and they forgot the disaster that happened to their ancestors. But when they encountered a catastrophe later, their group had to go far away to avoid the disaster, and even kept their names incognito. Tian Patriarch knocked on the case. There is one more thing, if Fei Rong has a green body, why is the qualification so poor in the past 10 years, and the cultivation base has not improved at all? The most critical point is that when Fei Rong was given to Fei Rong when testing the qualifications, no vision was revealed. Why is this? Father Tian was also confused. Yeah, why is this? Could it be that we made a mistake? Fei Yang got it wrong. Tian Patriarch glared at his son and sighed, have you not noticed that Fei Rong has less contact with his family? And he never mentioned in his letter that his cultivation has grown so fast, which is not in line with Fei Rong's temperament. This grandson has always been the most heartless. He tends to think that this grandson has awakened the azure body, otherwise it is impossible to have such a fast cultivation speed with the 3 spiritual roots, and the medicinal pills cannot be poured out. Thinking of this, he looked at Father Tian, check the people around you. Well, did you do something that Fei Rong couldn't accept, and I will personally send someone to contact Fei Rong about this, so I can't help but tell him. Father Tian was shocked. If Tian Firong was really a Qinjian body but was not found out, there is only one possibility. He was covered up by someone, and his face changed and changed. If it is true, then he is most likely to attack. Aren't people? Father Tian murmured, could it be, she did it? Tian Patriarch waved his hand wearily to his son, and we have to investigate to find out what is right and wrong. A few days later, a detailed investigation document was delivered to Father Tian. When he saw one of the contents, he overturned the teacup in his hand to the ground, making a harsh and crisp sound that brought him back to his senses. His guess came true. What is the lady doing this for? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 133. There is also a square market outside Tianfu College. It is not called Tianfu Fangshi by the monks. At first, it was a place for communication formed by the monks spontaneously gathering together. It gradually attracted more and more loose cultivators to join. Within the jurisdiction, the monks here are invisibly sheltered by Tianfu Academy. Tianfurong received a summons and hurried out of the academy to Tianfufang City. He went in and out of places like this a lot, so many people recognized him and greeted him one after another. Obviously, he was not in the mood to deal with others today, so he flinched when he found a chance, and someone from his hometown suddenly came to tell him that he had something to tell him. When he came to the agreed restaurant, Tianfurong went to the private room upstairs and opened the private room door without having to lead the way. What he saw was an unfamiliar face. Tianfurong stood at the door and looked at the visitor hesitantly. Who is this? The visitor looked about 40 or 50 years old, and looked very vicissitudes. He took out a token, which made Tianfurong immediately understand that this was his grandfather's person, and he only belonged to the head of the family and obeyed the orders of the head of the family, so he closed the door with confidence. At the same time, start the formation in the private room, so as not to be eavesdropped by outsiders. Did your grandfather ask you to come to me? What's the matter? Could it be from the family? Tianfurong felt a sudden shock in his heart, fearing that something would happen at home. Second young master, don't be impatient, Yuanyang town and Tian family are all well, the subordinates are only here for the second young master, please read the patriarch's letter first, and the patriarch will explain it. If the second young master has any questions, let them know. Say nothing, try to satisfy the second young master as much as possible, the visitor respectfully said, and took out a letter and offered it with both hands. Tianfurong was even more puzzled, but let's look for the answer from the letter first. He took the letter and opened it, frowning gradually. The beginning of the letter is written from the ancestors of the Tian family, no, it should be said that it starts from the Yan family. The surname Tian was taken from the family who lived in Yuanyang town for incognito. The ancestors of the Yan family would appear every few generations. The descendants whose bloodline returned to their ancestors inherited the Qingjian body of their ancestors, so the ancestors of the Yan family were not unknown in the Tianlin continent. It's just that the Yan family has been repeatedly attacked by Black Hands, and finally it was discovered by the ancestors that the Black Hands behind the scenes were trying to plunder the Qingjian body of the Yan family, and the people who appeared were stronger than each other, so the last Yan family master the members of the tribe scattered out and made them flee separately. In the future, they would not be allowed to show up with the Yan family again, hoping to save a little blood. This branch of the Tian family was originally an inconspicuous side branch of the Yan family. There has never been a bloodline attrition in the family. Perhaps it was neglected by the mastermind behind the scenes and managed to escape successfully. It took root in Yuanyang town. Except for the head of the family and the children who will continue to be the head of the family, no one knows the glory of the ancestors. Patriarch Tian thought that the troubles of his ancestors would not appear in his clan, and maybe even for a few generations, even the scenery of his ancestors would be forgotten, but when Patriarch Tian had not yet inherited the position of patriarch and traveled abroad, he was lucky enough to meet him. The other Yan family that was chased and killed, even the Tian family owner, did not show up to show his identity, and his strength was not enough to deal with the enemy. When he finally looked for it, the clansmen had already tried their best not to die with the enemy, leaving a newborn baby on the spot, well protected by the adults, and not affected much. Tian family master could not bear it. Secretly he took the child away and immediately fled back to Yuanyang town. This child was the second young master of the Tian family later. Tianfurong looked confused. It turned out that he was not from the Tian family. He was quietly brought back to the Tian family under the pity of his grandfather. It turned out that his special physique was not for no reason, but a bloodline that returned to his ancestors and inherited his ancestors. Inflammation body. He himself hadn't realized the importance of the Qingjian body. He thought that the last time he fought with his eldest brother, he was noticed by the eldest brother. He described to his family that he was alerted by his grandfather, and specially ordered someone to send a letter to remind him. Then Tianfirong opened his mouth and asked with difficulty, "Why didn't you find out before?" The visitor said with a straight face, "After investigation, it is the hands and feet of the eldest lady." The eldest lady found a prescription in the classics handed down by Tian's ancestors, secretly collected the materials to make, and used it on the second young master. Tianfirong showed an expression that looked more like crying than wanting to laugh, and asked dryly, "Why?" There was still no emotional change in the visitor, and he had to answer any questions. According to the owner's understanding, he did not want the second young master to hinder the future of the young master. Later in the letter of the Tian family, it was written that at that time, his eldest daughter-in-law had a problem with the second child and gave birth to a stillbirth. However, the outside world did not know the real situation, so he existed as the second young master of the Tian family. The few Tian family members who have handled it are not even aware of other clansmen. This time, the doubts that have been entangled in Tianfirong's heart finally have an answer, which is similar to the direction he guessed. After knowing that his physique was artificially concealed by drugs and his aptitude was lowered, Tianfirong didn't want to doubt his closest family members, but unfortunately those people and things would get into his own mind. The eldest brother treated him with sincerity, his father urged him earnestly, and his grandfather never gave up on him. Their expectations made him unwilling to suspect them anyway. However, this kind of thing can only be the hands and feet of the close relatives around him. Only in this way will he not arouse suspicion from others. Since childhood, his mother has treated him very indulgently. It can be said that he is almost responsive to his needs. He will also ask his father for him, he is also unwilling to doubt his intentions, but now I understand it all. I can't accept it emotionally, but intellectually I know why my mother did this. If his aptitude is good, the focus of the family's training will be placed on him, which may affect the future of the eldest brother. This result made it impossible for him to resent others, even his mother who drugged him. After all, he didn't directly take his life. If he stayed in Yuanyang town, he could still enjoy 100 years of wealth. It is impossible for him to survive, and the Tian family has a great kindness to him. Let grandfather not tell eldest brother about this for a while, and don't blame Mother. Tianfirong's eyes were a little erratic, but now that I think about it carefully, there were a few times when my mother looked at him with a complicated look, but it was undeniable that he put his life is cared for in a meticulous way. Yes, second young master, the subordinates will send a message back. The patriarch ordered the subordinates to stay by the second young master's side, and the second young master of this jade slip stayed by his side to ponder carefully. The patriarch said that only the second young master can find it and see what's inside. The content. The visitor offered another piece of cyan jade slip, and Tianfirong reached out and took it without hesitation, because he felt the attraction of this jade slip to him, and a voice urged him to take it quickly. He remembered that Guyao said that the most beneficial way to develop his Qingjian body is to practice suitable exercises, but the exercises related to Qingjian could not be found in the academy, so in the end he spent money from the academy. Lingxi copied a fire-type exercise, which was much better than the exercise he practiced in the Tian family. It was beneficial to the growth of the Qingjian body, but it was still slightly insufficient. So it goes without saying that this jade slip should be a practice method related to the Qingjian body. Tianfirong held it tightly in his palm and asked, who was the mastermind behind the scenes? Could it be that this physique can be taken away again, transferred to another person? The person who came said, the patriarch said that the latter should not be the forces on the Tianlin continent, because their strength is higher than that of the Tianlin continent cultivators, otherwise the ancestors would not be destroyed so quickly. As for the latter, the patriarch does not know the specific circumstances. Only let the subordinates tell second young master to be cautious and not to expose your physique. Tianfirong licked his dry lips. The amount of information he received at once was too much, his mind was dizzy, and he needed to go back and digest it, and also wanted to know what was recorded in the jade slip. He said, "What should I call you? You can stay, but you can't enter the academy, you can only stay in this town." "Okay, the young master can call his subordinates Lao Chi." Lao Chi respectfully said, and bowed to Tianfirong. The second young master accepted him, then his future master will be the second young master, so even the title happened. Variety. "Okay, Lao Chi, let's do it for now. I'll come to see you in a few days. Find a place to live first." Tianfirong thought about it, and left a sum of spirit stones, lest Lao Chi even rent the spirit stones of the house. It wasn't enough, Lao Chi didn't give in and accepted it. Tianfirong came in a hurry and returned in a hurry. Tianfirong went to find Guyao as soon as he went back. Before his grandfather and Lao Chi warned him not to reveal his physique, he actually knew it from Guyao's mouth, so he didn't want to hide Guyao at all, including little Fatty and Chi Changji. Likewise, he believed them. And what happened to the Yan family also made him very vigilant. When he saw what was written in the letter, what came to his mind was a series of tragedies including the Shi family. The Yan family's experience was not much better than that of the Shi family. The surviving one of the Tian family is just a side branch, and even the bloodline has never returned to the ancestors. Tianfirong called Guyao and the three of them together, so as not to explain one by one, and then took out the letter from his grandfather. Guyao pointed to the three of them. "Tell us to read the letter? Can you? It's just for you to see, otherwise I can't explain it." Tianfirong nodded affirmatively. The three of them glanced at each other, and then focused their eyes on the letter together. The three of them read the letter at the same time, and then Guyao and the little fat man gasped. Chi Changji showed a solemn expression, knowing the secret. At the same time, this also represents a dangerous signal, and one does not know who is behind the troubles on the Tianlin continent. "So your surname was Yan. If your Qingjian body is exposed, will you be targeted? Could it be with the exterminator? The way of doing things is too similar, and it will kill people at every turn." Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 134. Guyao didn't expect that a small Yuanyang town was not simple. There were people like his uncle who were full of secrets, and there was a family whose ancestors had been honored but had to remain anonymous. Seeing Tianfirong's indescribable expression, he knew it when he wanted to come back. Who was the person who attacked him in the first place? I'm afraid there's no way to hate him. Although there are some yin and yang mistakes, the Tian family treats Tianfirong very well. It is entirely up to the Tian family to survive this little life, and he has not been raised by the Tian family. Guyao scratched his head. Why does this plundering of the Qingjian body sound like a human experiment? Even if it has nothing to do with the exterminator, it is a force that cannot be seen, and it is not tolerated by the Tao of Heaven. In the interstellar world, human experimentation is rejected by the entire alliance. Because it violates humanism, of course, it still cannot resist private actions, especially after the arrogance of the Zerg. Many people want to integrate the genes of the Zerg into the human body in a whimsical way, thinking that create an invincible army. However, what came out of the laboratory was nothing but a ghost. The exposure of every underground laboratory was so shocking that it attracted the entire alliance to attack. Guyao is also one of the staunch opponents. I didn't expect that after coming here, I might encounter similar things again. What is especially terrifying is that the monks here don't take people's lives seriously, unless they threaten many forces. interests, let them unite to resist, otherwise this dark force will exist for a long time. Human experiment, Chi Chang-ai repeated this word, and Guyao always came up with some strange words, but when he chewed it, he felt very vivid. It is very likely that there is always a bit of greed and lack of greed, want to take shortcuts, in the end it is something the demon said crookedly. But try to be careful in the future, Fei Rong can find some similar exercises to cover it up. Tian Firong knew that his spiritual power was special, and it was easy for others to discover his Qingjian physique. He nodded and said, "I'll look for it." He will be more cautious in doing things. It doesn't matter if he is found out, he is worried that it will affect the friends around him. Tian Firong went back to his room to study the blue jade slip, while Chi Chang-ai and little Fatty went to the collection pavilion to find out if there was any record of the Yan family. According to the letter, the Yan family should be a very powerful family. It is impossible for such a family to remain unknown if a Qingjian body with a bloodline reverting to its ancestors can appear every few generations, and there are matching exercises. "Brother Chi, look," the little fat man ran to Chi Chang-ai's side, handed the page opened in his hand to him, and said, "There are records about the Yan family here." Chi Chang-ai took it over. It seemed that the city was named Yanyuan and the rulers of the city, the Yan clan. Yanyuan city is located in the south with a hot climate and many volcanoes. Therefore, fire attribute monks are also used in Yanyuan city. Mainly, the most outstanding ones are the people of the Yan clan. It is said that the people of the Yan clan can refine fire-related exercises to the extreme, and no cultivator can escape with one-handed fire control. However, the once glorious Yanyuan city and the Yan clan have disappeared in the long river of history. The former Yanyuan city is now a desert, and it is difficult for the foundation building cultivators to stay there for a long time. Many monks once went to the former site of Yanyuan city was looking for the cultivation methods of the Yan clan, especially the monks with the fire attribute. However, most of the monks never returned. No one can tell exactly why Yanyuan city was destroyed. Some people speculate that Yanyuan city offended the enemy, destroying Yanyuan city without question. Chi Chang-ai closed the book, put it back on the shelf, and said, "Let's go. There is no need to read any more. It is impossible to give them the correct answer in these books." Looking at the map, Yanyuan city is clearly far away from the center of Tianlin continent, at the southernmost end. If something happens, it is difficult for the news to get back to the center of the mainland, so that no one knows the truth. Also because Yanyuan city and Yuanyang town belong to two extremes, the Tian family who fled to Yuanyang town could survive and bury the hatred they once had. How can it be the opponent of the Black Hand behind it? Forest asterisk. Tian Firong successfully opened the restriction on the jade slip. The restriction was left by the green flame power, and could only be cracked with the green flame power. Otherwise, the jade slip would collapse if it was forcibly opened. Although Tian Firong's azure body was not well developed, his spiritual power was barely able to bring the azure flame power. It took a lot of time to imprint this practice into his sea of consciousness. In addition to the Qingjian art, the jade slip also has a way to cover up his physique and Qingjian flames. Tian Firong was overjoyed. This was exactly what he needed. It seems that the ancestors of the Yan family knew about the crisis and began to take precautions, but still can't escape bad luck. After memorizing all the content, he tried to run the magic formula to conceal the power of blue flames. After a while, when he sent the spiritual power to his hand, a light blue spiritual power wrapped his palm, and then there was joy in Tian Firong's eyes, because he found that what was different from the past was that this light science spiritual power was covered with a light red layer. This tactic has such a characteristic at the beginning of his practice, which makes him believe that as long as he continues to practice, sooner or later his azure flame will be completely covered by red. When it is completely covered, then he will not have to tie his hands and feet when he goes out to fight. This tactic is essentially a clever trick. As soon as his mind moved, the spiritual power was withdrawn into his dantian again. Tianfirong looked at the jade slip in his hand, sighed, and still sent Dao's spiritual power to simplify the jade into powder. In his mind, even if he was fortunate enough to meet other descendants of the Yan family in the future, he would be able to reburn the contents of his mind into the jade slip. In the Yan clan, Tianfirong never thought that one day he would bear such a lot of pressure on his shoulders, but the Qingjian body awakened in his blood, and this became a responsibility that he could not escape. He didn't know whether he escaped from the main branch or the descendants of other branches, whether there were other Yan clan people living where, and who his biological parents were. It was difficult to answer these questions. From this day on, Tianfirong practiced harder than ever. After accepting the content on the jade slip, he came out and hurriedly told Guyao that there was a trick to cover up, and then he plunged into the training room. Little Fatty silently took over what Tianfirong was doing, so that he could devote himself to cultivation. This is not only for Tianfirong himself, but also related to Guyao and Qi Changjai. Otherwise, if the mastermind behind the scenes finds out that he is a descendant of the Yan family, Guyao will also be implicated. Forest asterisk. Guyao sat in the pill pavilion, looked at Su Chen and asked, "Have seniors ever encountered the situations mentioned by Brother Tian? Is there a cultivator who can forcibly transfer someone else's physique to himself?" Su Chen gave him a strange look. "Just because of this, you came in and asked me? This kind of thing is happening in. It is not uncommon in the world of self-cultivation, otherwise why are some monks called evil demons? There are various methods of evil cultivation. Some use human flesh and blood to cultivate, some sacrifice the souls of people after death, and there are special corpses. You are too rare and strange." Guyao wiped his face and was despised. Sure enough, the world he saw was still very narrow, and the world was huge and full of wonders. Su Chen explained it to him again. Those with outstanding talents and special physiques are often envied by the heavens, so it is inevitable that there will be many disasters at the beginning, such as the body of Xuanyan, which is also a special physique with extremely fast cultivation speed, but once they were discovered and they were not protected, most monks were trained to become cauldrons, they practiced special exercises, and in the end they all made wedding clothes for others. Through a monk with a mysterious body, he finally became a strong one. Of course, once a physique such as the Qingjian body is discovered, it is basically absorbed by the major sects. To focus on training, under the protection of the sect, those evil cultivators have no way to attack the idea of these special physique cultivators. And this method of plundering other people's physique is fair in terms of heaven. Is other people's physique so easy to plunder? So far, I have never encountered someone who can completely plunder someone's physique, such as Qingjian physique. Maybe absorbing 10 or 100 cultivators with such a physique can create another one with the same physique, but how can there be so many special physiques in the world for evil cultivators to plunder? Guyao felt better when he heard such a statement. If it was so easy to plunder, even those of the righteous path would not be able to resist. Who could control such a temptation? At that time, it will not only plunder the physique, but maybe also plunder the spiritual roots, then the world of self-cultivation will be plunged into chaos. The frequency of the Yan clan's people appearing with green flame bodies seems to be quite high. Is this the reason why the Yan clan is being targeted? Su Chen nodded. Perhaps this continent is the last place left behind after the War of the Ancient 100 Tribes, so there are more special bloodlines and physiques here than other places. The Yan clan may be the descendants of the bloodlines left by some special race. In fact, after all, it is the Changxian gate that is the most suspicious. You should hurry up and find a way to have a look when you have the opportunity, lest you become someone else's turtle in the urn. Guyao nodded, thinking that what Su Chen said was still light. He had a feeling that they seemed to be kept in captivity on the pasture of Tianlin continent. The lamb in the hands of others, he couldn't help shivering. It was terrible. If you don't want to be slaughtered and become someone else's meal, you should practice hard. When you are strong enough, the slaughtering knife can be controlled by yourself. Not only Guyao and Tianfirong, but also the pressure on little fatty's shoulders, because everyone is cultivating hard, he will fall behind if he doesn't work hard. So apart from Chi Changjai, the other three people retreated one after another, and the news came out, disappointing all the students and the monks and merchants outside. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 135. Sir, look at Tianfirong next to Guyao of Tianfu College. Is the spiritual power used by him a blue flame power? In the battle between Tianhaimen and the sea beast, Guyao's reputation spread far and wide for his Qing Chen pill, and the monks who accompanied him also attracted much attention because of this, and many videos were circulated, recording the battle scenes with the sea beast at that time, including Tianfirong. With him some special spiritual power. Whether it is or not, I'd rather miss it than let it go. Check it out immediately. Yes, my lord. The subordinates who received the order were about to turn around and go out, and ordered the people in the organization to quickly find out about the matter. Although they have recently become the existence of everyone shouting, but only the tip of the iceberg is exposed, but it is still a matter of checking the origin of a monk. Very easy. But before he stepped out, suddenly a wave of spiritual power came from the sky, and the two monks shook at the same time, and then quickly swept out of the room and looked towards the sky. After the violent spiritual power fluctuations, the rays of light appeared, and the layers of spiritual power surged like waves and spread in all directions, and then various pictures emerged in the rays of light, and suddenly all beasts galloped, and all birds flew together. Suddenly the peaks are stacked up, or the yellow sand is full of jong, and there is a faint flash of a magnificent palace group. This is the Kanken secret realm. God, how could the Kanken secret realm appear at this time? Even if the palace group flashed extremely fast and the image was blurry, everyone who saw it had a feeling that it was the legendary Kanken Palace, or this was what the entire secret realm and Kanken Palace wanted to convey to the world. A perception that informs the world of the arrival of the secret realm of Kanken. Yes, it's the Kanken secret realm. No, you have to inform the above immediately. The Kanken secret realm must not be missed. The two of them put aside the investigation of Tianfirong and the Tian family for the time being. Compared to them, the importance of Kanken's secret realm is 100 times more important than the former. The appearance of the Kanken mystery realm shocked the entire Tianlin continent. Tianfu College. Dean Yu was floating in the air, and the senior management of the academy stepped on the magic weapon to control the aura, and watched the vision in the sky together. I believe that every place in the Tianlin continent can see the scene at this moment. President, Kanken's secret realm, could it be the legendary secret realm? The last time it appeared, it was about 2,000 years ago. Or was it more than 3,000 years ago? I didn't expect that we could see the appearance of the Kanken secret realm in our lifetime. This is a blessing for us monks in the entire Tianlin continent. Some people applauded and were very happy. Dean Yu stroked his beard and said solemnly, "It's a blessing or a disaster. Don't forget the city lord's mansion of Shifang City and the Changxianmen behind them. Will they pass up this opportunity? Compared, how confident can our young cultivators in Tianlin continent be better than them? I was happy to patronize before, and now I thought of the Changxian gate behind the city lord's mansion." The dean said it well. I'm afraid that the first time I saw the vision, the city lord's mansion sent a message back to Changxian gate. Changxian gate may be at this moment, he was about to organize his disciples to come to Tianlin continent. Dean Yu looked back and saw everyone's faces, and his expression softened again. It's a disaster, but it may also be an opportunity. If you can successfully pass this level, then the fish will enter the sea, and the dragon will rise to the sky. Lu couldn't trap them any longer, and for now, he would give it a shot. Go on, the secret realm will only be opened in a month. If the bone age is less than 50, all monks under Jindan can enter, and explain the dangers to the students clearly, and prepare for this month Yaoi long-haired. Yes, Dean. The peak masters of each peak will hurry up to arrange their time after they go back. Although they are over the age and are excluded from the secret realm, as long as the students who go in can bring out the good things inside, they can also enjoy it. Therefore, this opportunity is for everyone, so they specially bring to their apprentices and promising students they rely on, teach them for a few days, and send some important self-defense items, so they must come back alive. Dean Yu had a little hope in his heart. Among the students, he was most optimistic about Chi Changjai who could turn the situation around, so he asked Elder Yi to bring Chi Changjai to him and explain to him the importance of Kankan's secret realm. For Tianlin continent, where resources are scarce, I don't need to say more about the importance of Kankan's secret realm. Chi Xiao is talented, and Tianfa College can't keep Xiao. The same is true for Tianlin continent. I only have one hope for Chi Xiao. That is, while Xiao Qi preserves himself, he can help the monks in this continent and this academy if he can. The corners of Chi Changjai's lips raised slightly. I thought the dean would let me slaughter one of the cultivators from outside, maybe it would be best to keep them all in the secret realm. Elder Yi and Dean Yu were shocked and coughed. Elder Yi wanted to persuade him not to be too arrogant, but Dean Yu waved at him and said to Chi Changjai, if you have this ability, you are not afraid of being too arrogant. Of course, I am happy to see the consequences of this, but I believe that with Xiao Qi, it is already a disaster for those cultivators. Chi Changjai raised his eyebrows. Dean Yu is so optimistic about himself? Elder Yi understands the meaning of the dean. If Chi Changjai is really like the dean said, he is a cultivator who has entered Jindan, then with his current cultivation, dealing with a group of foundation building cultivators is indeed suspected of bullying the small. Thinking of Chi Changjai's presence, Elder Yi was a little relieved about the trip to the secret realm of Tianfa College. Otherwise, you can only hope to live one by one. Chi Changjai smiled and said, within my ability, I will do my best, but it also depends on whether it is worth it. Dean Yu said with relief, so thank you Chi Xiao. If Chi Changjai took him all over the place, he would not be at ease, and this just proved that Chi Changjai acted cautiously. He didn't take the world's cultivators seriously without relying on his strength. With the information given by Dean Yu, Chi Changjai returned to the courtyard in District A. Although Guyao and the others did not leave the customs, Chi Changjai believed that they would not miss this trip to the secret realm. Kankan's secret realm, he had also seen relevant records in Lingyuan sect, but he did not expect to encounter the secret realm on the Tianlin continent. The information that Dean Yu gave him was very limited. After all, thousands of years later, and because of the obstruction of human factors, how many monks can come out alive? Anyone who has seen a vision does not need to look at the information, but also knows that the most important place in the secret realm is the palace group, Kankan Temple. The information contains that the monks who came out of the secret realm soared into the sky and successfully formed elixir. There are countless treasures in it, making the monks crazy. Based on the previous experience of breaking into the secret realm, Chi Changjai knew that the treasures of heaven and earth are touching, not to mention foreign monks. Now, even among the local monks, they must kill each other in the secret realm, so he will say that it is worth saving. Chi Changjai didn't go straight into the secret realm without any preparations. He made a list and asked the Xingyu Merchant Guild to collect some materials, and personally drew the talismans and refining formations for himself, and more importantly, for Guyao's self-defense. Yu Yuan the long-given information said that when you teleport into the secret realm, you may not end up in the same place. If you are separated from Guyao. This thought made the movements in Chi Changjai's hands more and more unstoppable. The magic talismans beside the desk were already piled up thickly, but the more self-defense things, the better, and even some of them should be given to the other two guys, Xiao. I must not worry about them, and refuse to enjoy these charms alone. Fortunately, These two guys know that they have retreated one after another, and any improvement in their strength will be beneficial to entering the secret realm. Half a month later, even Zhang Yan and the others were worried about whether Gu Yao would be able to leave the customs in time. A vision suddenly appeared in the sky above the yard, and the auras in District A and the surrounding area swarmed somewhere, forming an aura in the sky. In the whirlpool, the students in the entire District A were alarmed, and even the nearby ones came to check. Could it be that a strange treasure appeared? Or did someone break through? This promotion's voice force is a bit vast, but it's not like an ordinary promotion. Tian Furong and Little Fatty, who had been cultivating, were also alarmed. They walked out of the training room. They were startled by the sight. The underside of the whirlpool was Gu Yao's retreat. They hurriedly ran towards Qi Changjai, who was standing in the courtyard. In the past, Gu Yao, what happened? Qi Changjai was in a good mood and said, Xiaoao has built a foundation. At this time, the foundation is successfully established, which is great news. Really? Great. Tian Furong and Little Fatty slapped each other. Gu Yao finally established the foundation, and their strength increased again. The most important thing is that after Gu Yao established the foundation, others can still take the four spirits. What are you questioning based on your aptitude? Gu Yao's aptitude is poor. Why don't you build a foundation first? Qi Changjai threw a jade slip to them. There are still more than 10 days before Kankan's secret realm will open. Do you want to enter, and what preparations you need to make to enter, you can decide for yourself. Tian Furong hurriedly took over the jade slip. Kankan's secret realm. I haven't heard of it. How come a secret realm emerges after closing? The secret realm of Kankan? I think I've seen it somewhere. The little fat man had some memories, but before he could recall, Tian Furong was already there, startled and deceived, and wanted to enter. Of course you want to go in. Miss this opportunity. In the future, he will be out of touch with Kankan's secret realm. After the little fat man read the contents sorted out by Qi Changjai in the jade slip, he also remembered the records he had read before, which of course belonged to the legendary ones, and was useless at all. The two looked at each other. Gu Yao's foundation was completely fine, and if they wanted to hold back less, they should hurry up to prepare, and quickly exchange the spiritual stones in their hands for magic tools, magic talismans, and other objects into the secret realm. So the two separated and got busy. Tian Furong remembered Uncle Qi, who stayed in Fangxi, and asked him to help collect some important supplies together. At the same time, the aura vortex over the yard dived down, and then the light was cast down, and the remaining aura in the air was splendid under the refraction of the light, and there were strange beasts running and birds flying, but what seemed to be not at all. Even Qi Changjai, who was closest to him, thought he had hallucinations. Looking at the water-washed sky thoughtfully. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 136. Many students who were attracted, in order to see more clearly, stepped on the magic weapon and flew into the air. When the fluctuation of the spiritual energy completely stopped, Gu Yao also shook off the dirt that was washed away by the impact of the spiritual energy. When it was him, everyone was surprised and expected. Aha, isn't it the 9th level of Qi refining? According to his alchemy skills, it is not a big problem to leapfrog the foundation building Dan. Besides him, in this yard, who else has a cultivation base close to the foundation building? No. Fuck. Gu Yao wouldn't really have refined the foundation establishment pill by himself before retreating. Does that mean that he is already an 8th grade alchemist? Do you think the ancient alchemist has become an 8th grade alchemist? Perhaps the foundation establishment pill was obtained from another source. Master Hugu takes such good care of the ancient alchemist. It is not difficult to give 2 foundation establishment pills. I think the foundation building pill was made by the ancient alchemist himself. Do you think he can refine high-level pills when he is in the middle level of chi refining? What problems can he make when he is at the master level? The group of students were still arguing, such as Zhang Yan and the others who had gone straight to Gu Yao's yard, congratulated him on his successful foundation building, and looked at Gu Yao with bright eyes. Gu Yao naturally knew that they were here for the foundation establishment pill, and took out a jade bottle and handed it over. There are 10 foundation establishment pills in it, senior brother Zhang should use them first. Zhang Yan is overjoyed. Gu Yao has already become an 8th rank alchemist, and he will definitely become a 7th rank alchemist in the future. Although the sound didn't come out through the shield, some people could understand the lip language, and with the excited expressions of Zhang Yan and the others, there was still something they couldn't guess. It's really the foundation establishment pill. Did you hear it? It's 10 pills, and I took out 10 pills at once. Ah! Going crazy. No way, I'm going to propose a pillow seat, and I'm going to pour tea and water for the ancient alchemist. Don't stop me. No alchemist in the entire Tianlin continent can be promoted to an 8th rank alchemist at this age. Right, and now they see a live genius 8th grade alchemist. Live and not legendary. We will definitely not stop it, hee, as long as you have the ability to block senior brother Kai's sword. Hurry up. Kankan's secret realm. Gu Yao didn't expect to hear the news when he came out of the closet, and after hearing the general situation of Kankan's secret realm, he was very interested. Fortunately, I left the customs in time, otherwise I would not be able to catch up. I'll wait for you, Chi Change, I said lightly. If Gu Yao didn't make it in time to enter the secret realm, then he would stay with Gu Yao. Although the Kankan secret realm is magical, but there are other secret realms without it. Zhang Yan got the foundation establishment pill and hurriedly fled, and then after he went back, someone sent a batch of things over, all of which could come in handy when entering the secret realm. Shifang City. The teleportation array, which was originally activated only once every 10 years, lit up again, and it lit up more than once. City Lord Meng led people to guard the front of the teleportation array. After all the people were teleported, they were sent to the city owner first. The house settled down. This time, the 2 cultivators who came with cultivator Yan last time, Chen Yufeng and Lu Changhao, are both great foundation building cultivators. As long as the opportunity is sufficient, they can break through that barrier and successfully form pills at any time. But if the opportunity is not enough, that step may never be achieved. However, the 2 of them are obviously confident, and their preparations were not bad. Now they have the help of the Kankan secret realm. Both of them believe that as long as they come out of the secret realm, they will definitely be able to form the elixir. As for the monks in this wilderness, they also not enough for them to cut it. If they know current affairs and are in a good mood, give them a way to live. If they don't know what's wrong, But it was not the 2 of them who led the team this time, but Lu Huajing, the real arrogant son of Chang Xianmen. City Lord Meng's respect for him was no worse than that of the cultivator Yan last time. After settling down, Lu Huajing didn't care about others. Just tell people not to disturb them, and wait until the day when the secret realm opens. There are also several alchemists in the company. The Kankan secret realm is rich in various spiritual herbs, and it is very attractive to alchemists. One of the alchemists approached Chen Yufeng and Lu Changhao. I heard that there is a genius alchemist here? Do you know each other? Chen Yufeng didn't dare to disrespect Lu Huajing, nor did he dare to offend the alchemist Ning, genius alchemist. How could there be a genius alchemist in such a wild place? It's just a bunch of ignorant guys who dare to be crowned with a little skill. With the name of genius, how can they have a place in front of senior brother Ning? Chen Yufeng and Lu Changhao didn't take the monks on the Tianlin continent seriously, so it was impossible to inquire about the situation here. The Qing Chen pill had not been popularized in Changxianmen, so it was impossible to know the specific situation. However, Ning Hui knew the true origin of Qing Chen pill from his master, and he had personally refined Qing Chen pill. In any case, he could not believe that it was developed by an alchemist in a small place who had never heard of it. So knowing that Kankan's secret realm was on the Tianlin continent, he asked his master to report his name. Ning Hui saw that these two people didn't know anything about them, so he didn't ask them at all. He went directly to City Lord Meng and obtained detailed information about Gu Yao from City Lord Meng. The more Ning Hui looked, the more he felt that Gu Yao must have got something. Inheritance, there is this alchemy recipe in the inheritance, otherwise, with this kind of place where even a 7th grade alchemist can't get out. Can an alchemist in the qi refining stage develop a clear dust pill? Laugh. A guy who covets fame, he will teach this guy to recognize what a real genius alchemist is. Forest asterisk. The Kankan mystery realm finally stabilized, projecting various entrances in different areas, and in the Kukyu Mountains between Tianfu College and Qingxiumen, there was just a projection entrance. Students, come here and wait for the transmission. Originally, Qingxiumen did not take the people of Tianfu Academy in their eyes, but these few Tianfu Academy produced a few geeks, which made the popularity of the entire Tianfu Academy also rise, making Qingxiumen's disciples all kinds of envy, jealousy, and hatred. In the past, when they encountered people from Tianfu Academy, it was tit for tat and dedicated to attacking them, but now they have to change their strategy and switch to various relations with them. Drag it out, just to take the east wine to buy medicine pills. In private, many people complained, why didn't the elders take Gu Yao into their Qingxiumen back then, otherwise they would be arrogant to those guys in Tianfu College now. The head of Qingxiumen and the dean of Tianfu Academy were dispatched to personally their respective disciples into the secret realm, and they met to say hello to each other. The unpopular master of Qingxiumen saw Gu Yao and Qi Changjai standing beside Dean Yu at a glance, and the hole was shrunk. Sure enough, the news was not wrong, Gu Yao was really promoted to the foundation cultivator, that is to say, he became a cultivator. An 8th grade alchemist is also very possible. Elder Gan said through a voice transmission, Sect Master, it seems that they really want to let this ancient alchemist enter the secret realm. Although his talent in alchemy is unmatched, who can guarantee that the late master will enter the secret realm? The cultivator follows him every step of the way. A genius alchemist? The one who survives to the end is the real genius. In her opinion, there is no need for Gu Yao to enter the secret realm to take risks, and honestly stay in Tianfu Academy. It is not hopeless to become a 7th grade alchemist in the future, and this reputation may have already spread to a group of monks from Changxianmen. In their eyes, can they accommodate such a famous little cultivator? If he was unhappy, he cut him off at will. The unpopular master also said, who knows, in the end, young and vigorous, no one can stop it. You are right, there are countless geniuses, and those who live to the end will be remembered, otherwise it will be like a flash of fireworks. Gone. The other disciples of Qingxiumen also pointed at Qi Changjai and Gu Yao. Although Gu Yao felt a little more stressed, it was not unbearable. He just smiled and watched Qi Changjai grab the back of the cat's neck and lecture him. Of course, it is also sound transmission. Although Qi Changjai has prepared a lot of means to ensure that he and Gu Yao will not be separated, he can't be sure about the secret realm. Fortunately, there is a cat cub, and Qi Changjai finally realizes the cat cub at this time. There is this little guy. Gu Yao's safety can be guaranteed to a great extent. Qi Changjai is teaching it, if someone finds out your identity and origin, don't keep your mouth shut, you know? Otherwise, there will be no second person to supply you with the best pills without restriction. The cat who was about to protest silently put down his little paw. According to its inheritance and memory, no senior can always cooperate with Hypen Dan, meow meow meow, I know, it's really wordy. Expressiveness is getting stronger. These sound transmissions did not avoid Guyao for a long time. Although Guyao couldn't accept the murder and silence, he also knew the importance. If he didn't do this, it would be endless trouble, so he nodded obediently. Keep the liaison device with you. If the situation is not right, find a place to hide first and wait for me to find you. Chi thought about it and said with concern. Guyao is not too long-winded at all, because he is concerned about his own safety, so he will take the trouble to tell himself one brother, yeah, I know, I will put my own safety first in everything. Chi rubbed the top of Guyao's hair vigorously, and wanted to hold him in his arms and not let go. If he could make Guyao as small as a cat and put it in his pocket, it would be really uneasy. What? Su Chen was about to roll his eyes in the space. He said to Guyao, why don't you reveal my existence to this kid, so that he won't worry, it doesn't match his image of Gao Leng Jiangziu at all, and is about to subvert me. Knowledge of swordsmanship. He can also play a big role in the secret realm, and he can still do it to keep Guyao safe. Senior, do you agree? Guyao asked in surprise. Anyway, he's a sword cultivator, and he doesn't have the talent for alchemy. What's the use of the alchemy pavilion in his hands? Su Chen replied. Guyao also felt the same, I will think about it. At this moment, the mysterious realm suspended in another layer of space suddenly cast a beam of light, and the two parties were immediately excited. Come. This scene happened in several places, and in some places, some monks never knew about the existence of Kankan's secret realm. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 137. Lu Chuzheng waved his hand vigorously and said loudly, let's go. The first wave of teleportation was snatched by Tianfu Academy, and the disciples of Qingxiumen could only stare at Lu Chuzheng, the bastard. Qi Changjai and Guyao followed in this wave, and Tianfurong and Little Fatty walked behind them. As soon as he entered the range of the beam of light, Guyao felt that his whole body was being pulled and dragged by an invisible force. After an extremely short period of dizziness, the scenery in front of him changed, and his left hand was empty. Being together made Guyao feel lost for a while, and there was nothing behind him. The original Honda Firong and Little Fatty pulled a corner of their clothes, but now they are all gone. The only consolation is that the cat is still in his spirit beast bag. Guyao quickly released the cat. The little guy jumped onto his shoulder and meowed at him, then looked around in confusion, then became happy again and stepped on Guyao's shoulder. Senior Su Chen is also in the space, and can see the outside scenery through his eyes as usual. Guyao took out the contactor. This contactor was made from a special sea beast in the sea. The contactor from the same ethnic group would induce induction within a certain range. However, now there is no light spot on it. Are not within the sensing range. Without any hesitation, Guyao hung the contactor on his chest, then took out a mask. His entire face immediately became extremely ordinary, and he stepped on the magic sword and flew forward slowly in a random direction. Then Anzi, let's explore this secret realm first, then turn to the cat cub who is still happily jumping up and say, hide yourself, don't let people discover your existence. Otherwise, his face has changed, and with this cat cub, his identity can't be hidden. Guyao doesn't think that he is loved by everyone in this secret realm, so he should hide himself before meeting with others. The cat cub stomped on Guyao heavily, and then squatted on his shoulder. The figure slowly disappeared, but with the contract, Guyao can still see everything about it, such as the dissatisfaction on the kitten's face, but it quickly found its own pleasure, jumped off Guyao's shoulder, and bullied the surrounding flowers and insects. Playing and returning to play, but the cat cub kept in mind Qi Changjai's advice to it, and always kept not far from Guyao's surroundings. The spiritual energy here is very strong. The secret realm is open for half a year this time, which means that after half a year, no matter where they are, they will all be thrown out of the secret realm. For half a year, even if they do nothing, they only use the spiritual energy here to focus on cultivation. It can be worth more than 10 years of work outside. With his powerful mental power, Gu Yao slowly flew while letting go of his perception to carry the spiritual energy here. He felt that his whole body was as warm as soaking in a hot spring. This made it different from outside the secret realm. Flying hardly consumes much spiritual power, because it can be replenished from the body at any time. Suddenly, the ground shook, and a big tiger roared and ran out in the forest. It looked at Gu Yao and seemed to be drooling. Gu Yao unfortunately understood, and the big tiger regarded himself as food. The big tiger blew over in one breath. Before Gu Yao was blown away, the kitten playing next to him was blown back and turned several somersaults, furious. Roar! The black cat's body was exposed, his body was fried, and he roared back at the big tiger. Compared with the huge tiger, its stature is almost negligible. It was not inferior to the tiger at all. The roar made the tiger claw its front paws on the ground desperately to stop its figure, and two deep grooves were drawn out by the sharp claws on the ground. Little. The cat cub felt insulted and became even more angry. A terrifying aura emerged from its small body. The big tiger suddenly shuddered, and then made a move that made Gu Yao slump his jaw. Turning back, he immediately slipped away, and ran away at a faster speed than when he came, making Gu Yao, who was about to enter the battle, look at the cat in disbelief. The cat roared a few times at the guy who ran away in disgust. These sounds were filled with milky sounds, but the big tiger could no longer hear them. The cat was happy after roaring, and proudly walked up and down in front of Gu Yao with his small head raised, and gestured to Gu Yao with his small eyes. Seeing how powerful it is, the owner still has to rely on it for protection. Gu Yao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He threw the best pill and went over. The cat jumped up and grabbed the pill, shaking his head and wagging his tail, so happy. Fortunately, its ancestors couldn't see its stupid appearance. Su Chen sighed in the space. Gu Yao couldn't help laughing, and yelled at the cat, "Go!" He walked forward again, and the cat immediately disappeared and ran up. This kind of beast's innate supernatural powers can't be compared to humans. The spiritual energy is rich, and the time interval between opening is long, so the spiritual grass can be seen everywhere. Gu Yao actually saw the main material for refining Yongxia Dan, and when he saw Li Xingxi, he carefully dug it out and sent it into the space, although it was not there yet. Mature, but having room here is not a problem. Just after putting away a few spirit grasses, Gu Yao's eyes were alert, and the black cat pricked up his ears and looked at somewhere ahead vigilantly. Gu Yao beckoned to the cat cub, and then took a breath holding invisibility amulet on himself, hiding himself first, instead of meeting people rashly, because he smelled the blood from the wind, and always remembered that it was not here. It will be a place of peace. After a while, he saw an injured monk riding a magic weapon, staggering and flying towards this place, looking very embarrassed. There were 3 monks behind him like a cat playing a mouse, with their hands behind their backs calmly. Stepping on the magic weapon, he laughed and said, "Run, run faster, it is so easy to be caught up, this is the so-called genius? This genius in the wilderness is too worthless. No, just such a guy, in our Changxianmen, even the outer disciples can't compare, but he is still a genius disciple of the 7-star sect, which makes people laugh out loud. I heard that this guy Ning Hui is looking for an alchemist with the surname Gu. I heard that he is also a genius." The word genius came out of these 3 mouths, full of sarcasm. Su Yang's face was pale and full of resentment. Under the cover, the junior brother who happened to be with him was beaten and killed by these bastards. He and the junior brother were not opponents of these people at all, he just survived. Now, it's also because these few people want to humiliate him enough to solve it, but he still wants to live. Su Yang sees that the following people are still chasing after him slowly, and he is getting more and more desperate. 7-star sect? Gu Yao remembered who this person was. He had a relationship in Tianquifang City before, but because he had seen so many people, he couldn't remember when he didn't mention the 7-star section. He remembered this person. My name is Su Yang. One of them waved a wave of spiritual power at random. Su Yang fell from the magic weapon with a thud, and those people flew over to surround Su Yang in the middle. Su Yang closed his eyes in despair. Senior, help me, Gu Yao's teeth, unable to see death without saving. The practice of Changxianmen is extremely abhorrent. This is obviously to kill other monks for no reason. Listening to their meaning is only because it's hard to look down on the eyes, and the attitude of being high above makes people look down. And what is the name of Ning Hui among these people? Why are they looking for him? Okay, what do you want me to do? Su Chen asked, fearing that the world would not be in chaos. Fortunately, there are only 3 people, otherwise Gu Yao would be very troublesome even if he wants to save people. He said quickly, Cat Zigzag is in charge of one. I will deal with the monk in the middle, and at the same time, I will use the formation method to trap the third person, between me and the cat before the brat finishes his opponent. Senior, help me not to let that person break free from the formation, that is, let Su Chen help control the formation. No problem, it's easy to handle, Su Chen happily agreed. Thanks to the best pill refined by Gu Yao, his soul power has recovered a little, but he just uses his soul power to control a small formation, or a breeze. Okay, don't waste time for this kind of waste, and solve it quickly, a monk in Changxianmen said impatiently after playing enough. Do it, Gu Yao's voice exploded in the cat's ears, and the cat did not hesitate to rush towards the cultivator who was closest to it, while Gu Yao chose another direction to swept away. Who is hiding there? A cultivator scolded, not wanting a raise to fall around him. This cultivator doesn't think it's different. Can he be trapped by relying on a raise? He wants to go out and see which daring guy dares to attack their Changxianmen, and when he catches him, he has to cry and beg for mercy. But then he found out that he was trapped in the fog and couldn't find a way out, and there was a chuckle in his ears, just like they had just laughed at the so-called genius waste. Who? Get out of here. Don't pretend to be a ghost and scare people, get out. Outside, the first person to suffer is the person targeted by the cat. He was caught off guard by the cat's paw, and immediately realized that a devastating force was drilling into his body, and the protective vestments on his body were all unable to resist. This made him terrified, and he controlled the magic weapon to deal with the black shadow. Unexpectedly, the black shadow swept around him, and the speed was faster than his return. He could not fall on the shadow after several attacks. But after a few moments, he fell to the ground, blackened all over, black smoke billowed out, and he died not long after, and his entire body was visible to the naked eye. The speed decreased, until in the end there was only a fleshless skin and bones, which made Su Yang completely stunned. After the black shadow eliminated his opponent, he squatted aside. It was still a cloud of black mist, but it showed 2 pale green eyes, which looked like some terrible monster. It was these eyes that saw eyes will be prickly with sweat. And these green eyes only glanced at Su Yang lightly, and then they stared at the master who was fighting with another cultivator, namely Gu Yao. Gu Yao controlled the green sword and fought with another monk. The green sword was also covered up. No one would associate him with Gu Yao. His opponent noticed that the spiritual power in his body was draining too fast. You, how dare you use poison? You bastard, who are you, and dare you report your identity and origin? Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 138. But the man felt dizzy just after shouting, and his instinct was not good. He wanted to hide, but it was too late. When his stomach hurt, he lowered his head and looked at his dantian, which was pierced by a green sword, in disbelief, and stretched out his hand. With a scratching posture, he wanted to tear the person who dared to offend him finally, but in the end he just let out an unwilling whimper in his throat, and fell to the sky with a bang. This man was dead, with shock and anger still in his eyes. He dared to say that this cultivator would never be a disciple of the same sect, so he, an inner sect disciple of Changxianmen, hadn't cleaned up enough of these cultivators who didn't have long eyes into their hands. No one even knows the name of the person who murdered him, and he died unwillingly. It's a pity that no one will tell him the answer. Even Su Yang was shocked by Gu Yao's method, but Gu Yaolai ignored him and called the catboy and stepped into the formation. This time Gu Yao and the cat cubs joined forces to get rid of the last person as quickly as possible, then took off the storage bags on the three of them, threw the fireball talisman to destroy the corpse, turned around and left. "Thank you, fellow deist, for your rescue, dare to ask?" Su Yang hurriedly said. Gu Yao didn't turn his head back. "Fellow deist Su, please leave as soon as possible, there is a lot of movement here, and no one may notice it. Take care of yourself." After speaking, he stepped on the magic tool and turned into a rainbow light to escape. It's enough to solve the enemy for Su Yang, but Gu Yao didn't want to take all the responsibility of Su Yang on himself. Although compared with the disciples of Changxianmen, they are on the same front, but they will also form new opposites at any time due to changes in their interests. "Tisk tisk, I thought you would save people to the end," Su Chen said, looking at Leze. Gu Yao's black line, who was desperately trying to smash the magic weapon to fly while swallowing the elixir to recover his spiritual power, replied with 3 uses, "I am such a brainless person in the eyes of my predecessors. Yeah, if I were you, even that cultivator would be destroyed together, so as to ensure that the matter of you killing the 3 Changxianmen disciples would not be leaked, otherwise who knows if he would turn around and sell you." Su Chen laughed. Gu Yao frowned. "In that case, I might as well hide from my face and let Su Yang be killed by those 3 people, so why bother? It's one thing to be wary of Su Yang, but it's another thing to not save him. Gu Yao has his own principles. He's just not strong enough. You can ignore the threat of Changxianmen." Somewhere in the secret realm, a cultivator of Changxianmen looked at the 3 light spots that had been blackened out and said, "What's going on? 3 died at once. Did they encounter a monster at the Jindan level? What danger did you get into? Otherwise, how could they die so quickly one after another?" Lu Huijing next to him is focusing on breaking the ban in front of him. He doesn't take the death of 3 of his classmates seriously. Only incompetent people die easily. "Yes, brother Lu. Among the 5 or 6 Changxianmen monks concentrated here, no one thought that these 3 fellow monks died at the hands of the monks in the Tianlin continent, but thought that they had encountered a danger that they could not match and died." On a leafy tree not far away, Qi Changjai was holding his sword and watching the movements of the people at Changxianmen Gate. Seeing that they had targeted this place and concentrated their efforts to open it, Qi Changjai couldn't help but wonder, Changxian. The door knows much more about the secret realm of Kankan than the various forces on the Tianlin continent, so he stopped for a while, rather than rushing to find Gu Yao's whereabouts and join him. Qi Changjai was thinking, should we rob these people from Changxianmen? They should have information on the secret realm of Kankan. Although it will waste some time, it will be beneficial to finding Xiaoao, which is more purposeless than now. Better to run. Well, wait until they open the ban. As for the death of 3 Changxianmen monks, Qi Changjai disagreed. Only 3, and only more monks who came in from Tianlin continent died. Perhaps because too much time has passed, the restrictions here have become loose. After several people continued to attack for a quarter of an hour, the restrictions finally collapsed with a bang, and several people couldn't wait to plunge in. Standing on the tree, Qi Changjai's black eyes flashed, and behind the ban was the attic. There was probably an item left by his predecessors. Since he ran into it, he couldn't miss it, so he followed in a flash. "Senior brother Lu, is there really a legacy of nascent soul great master in this attic? It should be right. The people who came in the past failed to open the ban outside. That's because the cultivator who left the ban was not weak, But after these years of consumption, the power of the ban has been reduced a lot, even if it is not nascent soul. That will also be left by the cultivator of the Jindan high level. A few people came to the front of the attic and were about to step in when the stone statues in front of the door suddenly moved, waving two stone arms and smashing them towards them. Later, there are also traps. Lu Huajing chopped off the two arms of the stone puppet that attacked him, greatly reducing its combat effectiveness. He turned around and looked back coldly. Since your excellency came in with us, please come and see. What? Someone dares to follow us? Others were furious. They worked hard to break the ban outside, and were dragged by the stone puppet. Someone even wanted to be the aureole, and they didn't see if they could spare him. Little life. Qi Changjai removed the invisibility talisman and appeared in several eyes from darkness to light. Those stone puppets also lost serious energy, so they did not cause much obstruction to several people. Now they are all staring at the ghost Qi Changjai. Chong Chong hides behind the people. Qi Changjai looked back blankly with his sword in his arms, without any intention of leaving, which made these monks in Changxianmen even more annoyed. Lu Huajing looked at the man vigilantly. Who are you? What are you doing with us? Qi Changjai said as a matter of course, the nameless cultivator of Tianlin continent, who can hold treasures, can take it from you, that is my ability, otherwise I will defeat me first. Looking for death. Senior brother Lu, let's take care of him first. After saying that, the cultivators rushed over and surrounded Qi Changjai. Qi Changjai didn't hide his appearance at all. That was because he had confidence in his own strength, not arrogance. Faced with these cultivators, he was calm, and Wei Huijing's eyes were even more vigilant. If this person hadn't leaked his qi before, he wouldn't have been aware of this person's existence, because he did it on purpose. Your Excellency should know our identity. Changxianmen is not something you cultivators in Tianlin continent can imagine, so let's retreat quickly. Senior brother Lu is talking nonsense with him. I can solve these wastes in Tianlin continent alone. One of the cultivators took the lead in attacking Qi Changjai, and he despised the cultivators here. If he dared to provoke them, he should bear the consequences. I just didn't expect that his attack had not landed on Qi Changjai, and he saw that the latter hadn't even drawn his sword. This man's attack, along with himself, was swept away by Qi Changjai's sword whip. The man flew out backwards, spurted out a mouthful of blood, and stared at him in disbelief. This is impossible. Qi Changjai's consciousness and realm are still at the level of Jindan, so the attack of this monk who is still in the foundation building stage has many flaws in his eyes. He doesn't use much spiritual power, and he can sweep away with a sword if he finds a weakness. Flew out. Lu Huijing's pupils shrank suddenly. This person is too strong, even if he can easily defeat his classmate just now, but he can't do it so lightly. As soon as Qi Changjai shot, he realized that this is a strong enemy. This enemy cannot be eliminated. Those who come in from Changxianmen are not so relaxed. So he said quickly, start the hand, stop him. Yes, senior brother. Lu Huijing's reminder was needed by others. After putting away the previous contempt, a thought came into their hearts, that is, this person can't stay, and once he is allowed to escape, it is very likely that they will specifically rush to their immortal gate. People start. Therefore, these people cooperated to surround Qi Changjai, and they didn't pay attention to morality at all. They joined hands to kill the people in front of them. Qi Changjai's sword was finally unsheathed, and a sharp thunder light burst forth. Be careful, Lu Huajing was shocked. 10 minutes later, Lu Huajing and a few of his fellow disciples had left the restricted area. When they looked back there, their eyes were still filled with lingering fears. The cultivator who was the first to be swept away by Qi Changjai's sword slammed out angrily, what is that person? Who is it? Even senior brother Lu is no match for that person, which is a shame for these arrogant Changxianmen disciples, who were defeated by a little-known cultivator. Okay, it seems that someone mentioned that he is a lay Jiangzi following a genius alchemist. Finally a disciple remembered Qi Changjai's identity. City Lord Meng and other worshipping elders in the City Lord's mansion still collected a list of monks and their information that Tianlin continent needs to pay attention to. I hope everyone in Changxianmen will be vigilant. If possible, try not to let these people walk out of the secret realm alive. But at that time, they didn't take it to heart at all. A monk in a wilderness, the word genius is a big joke, worthy of their attention? What did they say then? They said that if they saw those monks, they would just cut them off. The reason why I had a little impression of the sword cultivator was because Ning Hui asked someone to inquire about the genius alchemist. He listened a few more ears, knowingly or unintentionally, and knew that this alchemist had an inseparable thunder sword cultivator. At that time, they thought that the so-called genius alchemist would definitely be taken care of by Ning Hui, so the thunder sword cultivator would not be able to escape. They didn't expect to be slapped a few times by this thunder sword cultivator not long after entering. Damn it, the surnamed Meng didn't say that the sword repairer is extraordinary. Someone took anger at City Lord Meng, blaming him for not making it clear how powerful the sword repairer was. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 139. Tianfirong and Little Fatty had much better luck than Guyao and the others. When they came in, they found that the other party appeared within the sensing range of the contactor, so they met soon after. In addition, the two of them are not belligerents, so they avoided danger one by being cautious, and also exchanged some information with other monks from Tianlin continent who entered the secret realm. Little Fatty, it's incredible, I just heard a rumor. Tianfirong returned to their temporary cave for 2 days from outside. Guess what it is? The little fat man rolled his eyes at him. Speak quickly if you have something to say. Okay, it's the news released by the guys from Changxianmen, saying that a thunder sword cultivator stole the treasure belonging to their Changxianmen, and they are saying that they must not spare the sword cultivator. Everyone outside guess who this Jiangziu is, Tianfirong said excitedly. The little fat man's eyes lit up when he heard it. It goes without saying, it must be Brother Qi. When others see people from Changxianmen, they just want to run away, but Brother Qi won't. It must be what those guys did to annoy Brother Qi. If you say something unpleasant, then Brother Qi can forgive them? Qi, but it's just to help the guy who can't afford to lose. Yes, I think so too. Tianfirong nodded his head like a chicken pecking at rice. In their impression, the image of Qi Changjai is incomparably tall, and belongs to the kind of people who don't offend me and don't offend others, so Qi Changjai will take the initiative to other people's treasures. Nonsense. Don't slander their brother Qi so much. Together, the two spit out the cultivator who couldn't afford to lose Changxianmen, and then became worried again. It seems that Guyao didn't meet Brother Qi. I don't know where Guyao has fallen. There is really something wrong with Changxianmen. That alchemist named Ning Hui is also looking for Guyao. We are still waiting for the injury. Let's go as soon as possible. I hope to meet Brother Qi and Guyao as soon as possible. The little fat man worried that they encountered a monster 2 days ago, and it took a lot of means to get rid of it, but the little fat man was also caught by the monster. A paw was injured, so he dug a temporary cave in the mountain to rest and recuperate, while Tianfirong went out to inquire about the situation. And we have to go out with a different face, so as not to drag Brother Qi and the others back, Tianfirong said. The little fat man nodded, took another rejuvenation pill and took it, closed his eyes and adjusted his breath, trying to heal his wounds. 5 days later, Guyao finally saw an acquaintance. It was Du Lingde and Tao Yu from Miaoun Pavilion. There were more than a dozen cultivators with them. The clothes they wore belonged to different forces, as if they were in a secret realm. When they met, they hugged into a group. After observing with his divine sense for a while, Guyao decided to go out. He also needs to exchange information. The number of people is great, and it is common here. As soon as Guyao approached, someone alerted. Guyao stood outside their cordon, clasped his fists and said, "There is a loose cultivator in the Xiaoshenlin continent, surnamed Su. This is the first time I have met a colleague after entering the secret realm." It turned out to be fellow Daoist Su. "Let fellow Daoist Su come over," Tao Yu said. Although this face was very unfamiliar, Tao Yu felt that this person's aura was somewhat familiar, and intuitively did not think that this person was malicious. Besides, there are more than a dozen cultivators here. Are they still afraid of Guyao alone? After Guyao clasped his fists in gratitude, he walked towards them, and Su Chen in the space protested, "Hey, did you use my surname with my permission? Don't say your name is Su Chen." Guyao just gave a surname casually. As for the name, he hadn't made up his mind yet, so he ignored Su Chen's words. Someone asked, "Dao Su has not met anyone from Changxianmen." Guyao sat down with a futon not far from them, and said, "I saw it, but I avoided it far away, and didn't dare to come forward to disturb it." The man said, "Fortunately, you didn't show up. Those guys are too domineering. They came to our Tianlin continent to our resources, and they saw the monks on our continent who were either humiliated or killed. Bah, I think it's more or less a robber." Guyao glanced at other people's expressions, and several people were angry. Guyao said in his heart, there seem to be a lot of situations like Su Yang's. Is it true that the disciples of Changxianmen are all like this? What kind of sect of the righteous path is the Changxianmen? Can you still cultivate the Dao with such as Inxing? However, someone finally told them to be shriveled. "Taoist fellow, is the Thunder Swordsman they are talking about really the fellow Qi from your academy?" a female cultivator said with bright eyes. The words Lei Jiangziu and Qi Daiyu made Guyao's heart beat faster. It must be Big Brother Ye. What did Big Brother Ye do? When Qi Changjai met those monks in Changxianmen, Guyao was very sure that the one who suffered the loss would never be Brother Ye. Tao Yu said modestly, "I haven't met senior brother Qi yet, so I'm not sure if it is." Guyao asked curiously, "What did this Thunder Sword cultivator do?" As soon as this question came up, several people rushed to explain to Guyao. Guyao only knew what Changxianmen released, saying that Qi Changjai robbed their treasure. Laugh. The treasures of heaven and earth in the secret realm are all things without owners. Could it be that those guys regard the secret realm as the private property of Changxianmen? A monk also said angrily, "Those robbers are too embarrassed to say that Lei Jiangziu stole their treasure. I think they didn't rob Jiangziu when they found the treasure, so they framed it. Besides, they robbed our things. They robbed less. They not only robbed things, but also killed people." Guyao echoed, "Yes, what if they robbed them? It's because their skills are not as good as others, and they can't afford to lose." Du Lingde looked at Guyao curiously. "Fellow Daoist Su is right. When you come to the secret realm, you don't have to it. It depends on who can strike the fastest. I heard that an alchemist named Ning Hui from their Changxian sect is looking for alchemist Guyao from your Tianfu Academy everywhere. What does he want to do?" "He wants to challenge alchemist Guyao." Guyao's eyelids jumped when he heard it, and he wanted to dig his ears. What was the origin of this Ning Hui? What are you looking for him for? Before the people from Tianfu Academy said anything, other people defended them. These guys are not robbers or something, and they want to find the ancient alchemist just to prove that the ancient alchemist is not good. The ancient alchemist is not a vain name. I listen. It is said that the ancient alchemist has already established the foundation and is an 8th grade alchemist, right? There was another good discussion around Guyao and Ning Hui. Guyao, one of the talking points, was a little embarrassed to hear it. "I still asked aloud about the matter of the long night just now, and echoed it. I am sorry this time." Su Chen laughed loudly in the space, and he also counseled Guyao to meet for a while. What is Ninghui? Guyao rolled his eyes at Su Chen in his heart. He was so stupid that he took the initiative to run in front of Ninghui, and this Ninghui was looking for him as soon as he came. He had some doubts if it was because of Qing Chen Dan's pill recipe. Out of trouble. After Ninghui's section passed, Guyao took the initiative to ask them where they had passed. He also shared some valuable places he had passed, and exchanged information with each other. This was quite effective. Guyao knew from Tao Yu that there are several places where spirit grass grows, but it is not because of strength. The tyrannical monsters occupied it, and they were unable to open it even for the sake of prohibition. When everyone was talking about being happy, they saw more than a dozen rainbow lights coming from a certain direction. When they got close, they could see the identity of the people who came. They were wearing the clothes of the disciples of Chang Xianmen, and everyone couldn't sit still. They stood up and looked at each other cautiously. Although the other party had more than a dozen people, and there were more than a dozen of them, Guyao glanced at the other party and found that the other party had several monks who had established a foundation. The dozen or so of them were not enough for the other party to clean up. After seeing the situation, it was due the faces of Lingde and Tao Yu were also difficult to look at. Guyao even received a voice transmission. Listening to that voice was Tao Yu's, fellow Daoist Su, if there is a conflict later, fellow Daoist Su, just leave as soon as possible, the farther away the better. Guyao pinched his fingers, wondering if Tao Yu recognized him or what was the reason for this reminder, and what are these people doing? The other party rode the magic tool and did not land, they were suspended in mid-air and looked down at them. One of them said, "There are a few who have just built the foundation, which is barely enough. You listen, as long as you are for our Ning Dan Shi. Do one thing, we will not embarrass you and let you leave by yourself, otherwise, he. Master Ning Dan?" Guyao's black line, it wasn't long before I heard this person's name, so I'm about to meet him. During Day frowned and said, "What do you want us to do? She doesn't have any affection for these cultivators of Chang Xianmen at all, so she will let them leave when she is done? Oh, if this thing is so easy to do, where do you need them?" During Day suspected that these guys were using them as cannon fodder, and was furious in her heart. Where does all this nonsense come from? There are only two ways in front of you now. Either go to work for our Ning Dan master, or don't even think about leaving, the speaker sneered disdainfully. The power to choose. Du Lingde was furious, she reached out and touched the whip in her waist. What she wanted most was to slash their faces with the whip. Tao Yu was well aware of Du Lingde's hot temper, and when she saw this, she reached out and pressed her hand, telling her to take it easy, and said, "As long as you keep your word, we'll go this way. You have some eyesight, hurry up to keep up, don't think about running, and don't delay our business," the man urged impatiently. Guyao sighed in his heart, it was impossible to run away at this time, and he could only follow them, just like the others, enduring his anger. Guyao still has an idea, looking at their appearance, it seems that they need a lot of manpower. Maybe they can meet Brother Tian and the others. It is impossible to say that he can further inquire into the whereabouts of Brother yet. He does not think that these people will have any good whereabouts if they meet Qi Changjai. Besides, he also wanted to see how sacred Ninghui was. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 140. After being taken to the destination by the Chang Xianmen cultivator, Guyao found that there were many monks gathered here, and there were many people like them who were forcibly brought here by the Chang Xianmen from other places. All of them dared to be angry, not daring to speak, even some people's faces were pale. Guyao secretly said, "I am afraid that some of them will be killed as an example." The cultivators of Chang Xianmen naturally wouldn't stay with people they despised, but gathered in another place. Guyao glanced at them and saw one of them wearing a moon-white robe with a cauldron pattern on his chest. The cultivator, looking at the attitude of others towards him, knew that this one should be the alchemist named Ninghui. "What are you doing with us here? Yeah, hurry up if you have something to say, and got so many people here." The cultivator in the Tianlin continent who was waiting was a little unstable, so he could only roar in a low voice. Someone jumped out to protest before, and was killed by a cultivator from Changxianmen with a wave of his hand, and some people wanted to run, but not long after stepping on the magic weapon, the man fell from the magic implement. "Master Ning Dan, now we can only find these people around here. It will take a lot of time to go further. These people should be barely usable." The disciple next to Ning Hui pointed to the restless monks and said. Ning Hui frowned. Many of them were still in the qi refining period. What was the use of the little cultivators in the qi refining period? It really is a wilderness. If it is placed on their Changxianmen realm, it would be a waste of resources for such a secret realm to be entered by cultivators in the qi refining period. Let them try it first. By the way, hasn't the alchemist with the surname Gu been found? Don Ning, I see that the guy with the surname Gu knows that Don Ning is looking for him. I'm afraid that he is hiding somewhere and won't dare to come out. Even a waste like this is worthy of Don Ning's mind. Some people compliment Ning Hui. Gu Yao's face twitched when he heard it, while Tao Yu and Du Lingde sneered in their hearts. Although they know that the cultivation level of Tianlin continent is not as good as that of a major sect like Changxianmen, and the overall level of alchemy is not as good, but they dare to say that Gu Yao's alchemy will never be at the same level as Changxianmen. The alchemist is poor. Gu Yao's alchemy rate and quality of alchemy have left other alchemists a few streets away, not to mention the fact that he has developed a new alchemy recipe by himself. Less than. They really wanted Gu Yao to come out and beat them in the face with his alchemy skills, but they also hoped that Gu Yao would never fall into the trap of himself. With the heart of these people, can they tolerate Gu Yao? It's better for Gu Yao to join up with Qi Changjai as soon as possible. With Qi Changjai's big killer, these people don't dare to do it casually. "This eldest brother, what exactly did you bring us here for? Let us introduce you first, and we will do our best to run errands for a few eldest brothers later." A slightly pleasing voice came from not far away. Gu Yao's first reaction was to look at his contactor. Sure enough, 2 light spots appeared on it. He was happy and worried at the same time. He raised his head in the direction of the voice. Looking over, I saw 2 monks with unfamiliar faces following a disciple of Changxianmen. One of them was a little fatter, needless to say, he was a little fat man. After Tianfirong and Little Fatty came out, they were unfortunately caught by the cultivators of Changxianmen, so they could only follow. Tianfirong had just asked that when he saw Little Fatty wink at him, and immediately checked the contactor with his consciousness, and again. Glancing at the cultivators present, I was secretly anxious. The extra light spot should belong to Gu Yao, but Gu Yao was also caught. At first glance, this attitude made them act as cannon fodder. How can this be good? If it is Qi Changjai, it is likely to be killed directly. Wrong. Just wait, the cultivator who brought them scolded impatiently, and then walked towards another disciple of the same sect. "Senior brother, I found only 2 qi refining period, it's really too weak." Tianfirong was scolding in his heart. If you think they are weak, don't arrest them. If you have the ability, you will confront Brother Qi directly. He and the little fat man didn't dare to look around, worried that Gu Yao would be exposed. A cultivator of Changxianmen came over, and with a stroke of his hand, he drew out 10 cultivators, just including Gu Yao. "You come with me first, this matter needs to be done, and Dan Master Ning cannot do without your benefits. We only need you to enter this valley, each of you can only bring out 1 spirit grass, the better the spirit grass you get, the happier alchemist Ning will be. You can only bring 1? Is there any danger there? What will you encounter when you go in? Some people worry," asked. Gu Yao did not expect such a strange place, so he could only take 1, indicating that these cultivators of the Immortal sect should try it. Maybe if they take more, they will be banned and rebound, and the consequences should not be bearable to them. Luo Yan, you'll know when you go in. You're so timid, don't even think about cultivating immortals. The man brought Gu Yao and the 10 people to the entrance of the valley, and impatiently ordered them to enter. Tao Yu and Du Lingde were also in the 10-person team. Tao Yu, who was walking in the front, couldn't help but look back at the so-called Daisu. There was worry and anxiety in her eyes. Gu Yao knew that she had guessed about her identity. But he wasn't sure, so he smiled reassuringly at her. He could handle it. He was very curious about the situation in this valley after listening to what the man had introduced before. Tao Yu groaned in her heart, this deist friend Su seems to be really an alchemist of Gu Yao. Not only was he not comforted, but he was even more worried, and said through a voice, wait, deist friend Su is behind us, we will take care of each other if there is any situation. Okay. The 10 people quickly disappeared at the entrance. At this moment, Tian Firong snorted in his heart and looked at the little fat man very anxiously. Just when the 10 people entered, the contacts on their bodies belonged to Gu Yao. The light spot became darker. Needless to say, Gu Yao was among the 10 people. Because he was separated by the ban, the induction of the contactor was weakened. What can we do now? Why hasn't Brother Qi come yet? Although Gu Yao walked behind her and Du Lingde according to Tao Yu's words, but after a while, he found out that they were separated. There was no one around him, and he was enveloped in a mist. He secretly apologized to Tao Yu in his heart. At this time, when he found out that he was missing, Tao Yu might have to worry again. Gu Yao could understand their protective psychology for himself, because as an interstellar pharmacy master, he also received such key protection. For those soldiers, he lives the meaning of coming down is more important. Senior, can you see it? This mist is the mist of spiritual energy. The spiritual energy here is so dense. When I heard that there was a ban, he put the invisible cat in the spirit beast bag, lest it be. Existence is banned and discovered, stealth may not be useful for ban. Kitty wrapped himself in black mist, and his green eyes looked around curiously. After a while, Gu Yao walked out of this foggy area. The scene in front of him suddenly made him dazzled. Heaven, there is a spiritual field in front of him. The spiritual field is divided into blocks, and each area only grows. There is a spirit grass, and each spirit grass looks so bright and rich. The most peculiar thing is that there is an area where the environment of ice and snow is artificially arranged, and there is a crystal clear spiritual grass growing in the ice and snow. Gu Yao gasped, that's actually snow dragon bamboo. The characteristics of snow dragon bamboo are too obvious. It is crystal clear, and it is no different from bamboo. It is said that it can only grow a section every 100 years, and the overall shape is like a dragon and bamboo hovering there. There are some scales on the surface. In Gu Yao's eyes, this is more like a fine work of art, which can only be viewed from a distance and cannot be played with. Su Chen was also dumbfounded. Which alchemy master or Lingzi master left here? There is no ability to grow, especially the growth environment simulated by the ban, so that different spiritual grasses can coexist in the same spiritual field, and the space where the Pill Pavilion is located is because it is a very special treasure. Environment. Following Gu Yao's gaze, he also projected onto Swilong bamboo. Swilong bamboo is the main medicine for refining Swilong pill. Swilong pill, that is the medicine that can only be used by nascent soul cultivators. All grasses are suitable for refining Jindan or nascent soul level cultivators' pills, and this is a bit too big. After the shock, he was joking. After all, with his former position, these materials can still be obtained, but he has never seen such a bunch growing in the same spiritual field. It's a pity, you see Basehan in vain, but it doesn't work. These spirit grasses are too advanced for Gu Yao. After listening to Su Chen's introduction, Guyao even looked at these spirit herbs with admiration. After all, even if these spirit herbs fell into his hands, he wouldn't be able to use them now, but it would be wasted. He hasn't reached the practice yet. At the level of making 7th grade 6th grade pills, some spiritual grasses will slowly lose their medicinal and spiritual energy when they leave this spiritual field. Senior, this place is surrounded by restrictions, I can't take it out, what should I do now? Why don't you just take a sprig of spirit grass from your own space and take it out to deal with the people from Changxianmen outside? Even if these spirit grasses are brought out, he is unwilling to let those people get them. Isn't that used to finance the enemy? Look at the stone tablet next to Ling Tian, Su Chen reminded him. The black cat jumped to the ground. Those spirit grasses also had great temptation for him, but he also realized that the power of the prohibition that was blocking the outside was not what he should deal with, so he just approached carefully and passed the eye addiction solution. Quench your thirst. Guyao glanced to the side and saw a stone tablet. He hurriedly walked over. Use your divine sense to penetrate in, Su Chen continued. Guyao Yiyan released his consciousness to touch the stone tablet, and the next moment his consciousness was dragged in by a force, and then he found himself in a world full of stars.